Hello, my name is Trisha McGusty, and you are viewing my presentation on Domino's, Marketing After a Social Media Crisis. The pizza was first introduced to the United States in the early 1900s when Italian immigrants settled in the Chicago and New York areas. But Domino's Pizza didn't come into an existence until Tom Monahan and his brother James purchased a little pizzeria called Dominic's in 1960. They put $500 down and borrowed $900 to pay for the store. James soon realized that he didn't want to quit his full-time job as a postman to work the business. So within 8 months, James traded his half of the business to Tom for the Volkswagen Beetle that they used for pizza delivery. In 1965, Tom purchased 2 additional pizzerias and now had a total of 3 locations. He wanted to keep all the stores under the same brand, but was forbidden to use the name Dominic's. In 1965, the name was changed to Domino's Pizza. The company logo had the 3 dots representing the 3 stores owned in 1965. He planned to add a new dot every time he opened a store, but the rapid growth prevented this from happening. Domino's Pizza opened its first franchise location in 1967, and by 1978 the company had expanded to 200 stores. In 1983, Domino's opened its first international store in Canada and its 1,000th store overall. By 1985, they also had 1,000 international stores. The 1990s began the introduction of non-pizza items and the pan pizza. They discontinued the 30-minute delivery guarantee and also launched their website. In 1998, after 38 years of ownership, the founder of Domino's, Tom Monahan, announced his retirement and sold 93% of the company to Bain Capital for $1 billion. The 2000 era began online mobile ordering and a lot of social media access. And this is where the social media crisis happens that you will see in the next slide, and which prompted the turnaround for Domino's and their new marketing strategy. This incident happened in 2009 before Domino's Pizza even had a social media presence and were not monitoring social media sites. This horrific scandal that they found themselves in, as you saw, were 2 employees doing disgusting things to sandwiches before they went out for delivery. And as you can only imagine, this YouTube video instantly went viral, hitting news stations everywhere. When the scandal broke out, Domino's immediately began to take action to correct the situation. But the problem was they did this behind closed doors. And this only led to increased attention to the video. And once they realized that, they quickly set up a Twitter account to respond to its customers and let them know that this was an isolated incident and in the process of taking the necessary measures to correct it. They used Twitter to post this apology, and they asked for their followers to help them spread the word by retweeting the link. This kind of helped calm the storm while they were preparing the release of their official public statement. When they did make their official statement, it was in the same channel that the initial crisis broke out in, which I think was brilliant because they had their U.S. president of Domino's speaking very sincerely, issuing an apology and humanizing the brand. And they not only was this just words and talk, they actually backed up the words with action. And they set out a plan to turn around the company. They continued along their international business strategy, and by opening up 1,800 new stores in 10 countries. They reinvented their products. They actually went to their customers and were showing their customers that they were listening to them, and asked them what was wrong with their pizza, what they needed to do better. And they admitted the results, and they showed the negative feedback from customers and admitted that wasn't the greatest, and they made a new pizza. They started from scratch, made new dough, made new sauce. They did brand reimaging. They changed their name from just from Domino's Pizza to Domino's, to better reflect the change in their industry, where they no longer just supplied pizza. They had other items on their menu, and they had a new image of transparency, and they valued technology, and they understood how important technology was to their brand, and the importance of communicating all of this information to their customers. As you can see from this slide, it made sense for Domino's to change their name from Domino's Pizza to just Domino's. They offer a variety of food items outside of just pizza. Pizza is still their number one product that they're known for, as they have 4 different sizes, 5 different crusts, 9 different sauces and toppings that are meat, and 18 non-meat toppings. You can make, there are 34 million different ways you can create a Domino's pizza. And they wanted to be known for their fresh quality ingredients. And they offered products that were both vegetarian and non-vegetarian. And because they had an international presence, they listened to their customers and seized on the market, and worked on unique, localized flavors. So they not only offered just pizza, they had calzones and garlic bread and garlic sticks and tacos and pasta and chicken wings and lava cakes, and you name it, they had it. And they kept expanding, and they are still working on improving their food choices and items. Price is very important to the Domino's marketing mix. Domino's main target is the lower middle class and middle class income group. The best quality with responsible pricing is Domino's motto. Domino's has come up with a uniform, consistent pricing policy, and it keeps this base price in check, where a lot of food items can be purchased for $5.99. It uses this to attract customers, and it is pretty much evenly priced with many of its competitors. Affordability is a key to its success, and it keeps these price schemes and manages them through innovative ways of coupons, buy one get one free, lots of free, buy a pizza free, get another one free on Wednesdays, and different things like that. The crisis made the place aspect of Domino's marketing mix very important to them. Domino's Pizza felt that it was maintaining a direct channel of communication with its customer base was very important. So customers can call in an order for delivery or carry out. They can order a pizza online for delivery or carry out. They can text. They have multiple apps that can be used to order pizzas. They can tweet, you name it. And they even have some dine-in locations. And Domino's is currently located in 73 countries with over 10,000 stores. Domino's has probably perfected the idea of promotion. They use multiple outlets to promote their brand, from mail ads to newspapers, magazines, coupons. Their commercials are extremely memorable. I remember as a kid, the avoid the Noid was just funny, and you knew that Domino's is who you should order from to get a fresh pizza, or Domino's was the company if you wanted a pizza delivered to your house in 30 minutes or less. They were very cost competitive, and they never charged for delivery. In fact, they offered additional discounts, either get a pizza 50% off or get a free Coke with your order. Their marketing and advertising team was actively involved in the promotional process, and the goal was to boost the sales. Um, Domino's ads are always targeted to be product introductions or brand reminders that actually make the people look at the ad and want to order a Domino's pizza. After the the crisis that happened, Domino's also reformulated its required franchisee contributions to the National Marketing Fund. This was so that they could standardize the marketing efforts and make the Domino's brand more uniform. So each company was required to contribute 5.5% of their royalties to the national ads. They were still allowed to do their own ads if they wanted to, but Domino's did such a great job at promoting the brand that many franchisees didn't need to do any additional promotion. If you were to summarize Domino's marketing strategy after this crisis, you could say that they were focused on their digital marketing technologies and social media strategy by driving sales traffic digitally, basically. You could also say that they wanted to maintain consistency, and this is basically by consistent menu pricing strategy. And they also focused on continued improvement and product upgrades and focusing on their efforts to bring the consumer exactly what they wanted. When we look at the restaurant segmentation and how that happens, the restaurants can fall into several different industry classifications based upon menu style, how the food is prepared, what the pricing is, and how the food is served, whether it's fast food, sit down, takeout, carry out. Domino's is further classified as a fast food or quick service restaurant. And many of the typical quick service restaurants are either hamburger joints or pizza parlors, sandwich shops, chicken restaurants, and Mexican food kind of round up the top different types of food you can buy in this segment. When many of the major companies that fall into this category outside of Domino's would be like a Chipotle or a McDonald's or a Wendy's, um, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell. All of these are considered quick service foods. And many of the demand for this type of meal is basically driven by customer taste and personal income. The profitability of these different companies really depends on how efficient their operation is and how effective their marketing is. This is why Domino's is so successful, because they've been able to build consistency in their operations, and they have very effective marketing. And they're a large company, which also produces an advantage in both purchasing, finance, and marketing over smaller companies. As we further break down the pizza industry, you can see that it can be further segmented into sit-down dining, delivery, carry-out, frozen pizzas where you actually take them home and bake them yourselves. The sit-down restaurants were previously kind of a place where customers had a traditional like pizzeria feel, but at a more reasonably priced than a regular sit-down restaurant. Many of those types of sit-down establishments are individually owned, but Domino's does have a franchise that you can come in and sit down and eat a pizza at an actual Domino's restaurant. There approximately 45% of customers' orders are carry out, making that the most popular way to eat a Domino's pizza. It's convenient, it's easy, delivery's free. You don't have to get up and leave your home. Another competition or this frozen pizza segment is pretty easy to do too. When you're at your local grocery store, you could just pick up a pizza and pop it in the oven, and you don't have to leave your home either. So you can see there's different ways that the pizza industry segments itself. This slide shows some of Domino's biggest competitors. You can see that in the US, Domino's is ranked second behind pizza, and Little Caesars is ranked just behind Domino's. Although this ranking is here in the United States, when we look at the international market or nationally, the Domino's brand is actually larger than Pizza Hut and has a bigger global presence. When we look at the pizza restaurant industry, it has definitely entered into the mature stage of its life cycle. Many cities have reached their limit of pizza restaurants that the population can support, and it makes it harder for new stores to open and get into the pizza business. It also means that each store itself will have to sell more pizzas if new stores aren't opening, and this is basically going to be the key driver to revenue. Even with this, the thought of this, it's baffling that the pizza sales in the United States are still rising year over year, and they are reaching 38.5 billion dollars in 2014. The sales figures are up over prior year, and even though the total store count in the US has jumped 2% over last year, most of this increase has come from independent operators, and the total number of stores was about 73,000, which was up 1,700 from the store count in the prior year. And interesting enough, pizza stores aren't closing, and more stores are still opening in this mature market. Even though in 2013 stores did close, I think like 2,000 stores closed, but this definitely slowed in 2014 into 2015. Major chains like Domino's accounted for almost 23 billion of the 38.5 billion sales. So you might be wondering, is there still room for Domino's to grow? And there definitely is room for Domino's to grow. If you just look at the quick service market, Domino's only has a 13% share, and the consumers are spending around $34 billion in quick service pizza restaurants each year in the United States. And takeout pizza constitutes the biggest share, which is at nearly $15 billion. Then delivery is around $10 billion. This is kind kind of surprising when you think about it, because 20% of Americans eat takeout or delivery meals at least once a week. Older generations don't aren't as dependent on these services, but around 40% of the 18 to 54-year-olds eat takeout food, and they feel it's essential to their life. So I think there's definitely opportunity for Domino's to target this 18 to 54-year-old market to increase their sales. Even though Domino's is one of the leading leaders in this industry, they're still not necessarily the favorite pizza. There's other pizzas that rank above them when consumer surveys are done. Pizza places like Papa Murphy's or Pizza Ranch, and some of these you may not have even heard of, but these are the findings of some of the Nielsen studies. Um, Nearly 77 million Americans have visited pizza restaurants in the past month. So there's definitely room for Domino's to grow, and they may also consider other alternatives as joining the frozen food market. But I think that that's still a ways away, as from this slide you can see there's a lot of opportunity left for them. When we look at a SWOT analysis of Domino's Pizza, they're, they have many strengths, and we've discussed a lot of these strengths. They have this iconic brand that they've been able to build brand recall through its regular advertising. They have a fantastic network of franchises. They offer really quick service, which and lots of items. They have a low cost. They've started offering healthier menu items, and they have this really efficient supply chain. Um, but they also have weaknesses. You know, the same strength can also be a weakness. This large number of franchise outlets can sometimes be difficult to standardize and handle all the operations and the quality control, which is what got them in this initial social media crisis, is the quality control of a franchise. Um, the market's mature, so you can expect that um, a health conscious population might decrease their pizza intake. And this industry, not just Domino's, but the industry as a whole, has low staff retention, and it's difficult to keep properly trained employee. And Domino's also doesn't have as many sit down eating places, and this has kind of become a trend with like the Chipotle's and such, of the quick service, but still being able to sit down and eat. Some of the opportunities that exist for Domino's are the market expansion. Domino's has done a really good job of capitalizing on expanding into developing market, and this is probably one of the most beneficial ways for them to increase their revenue. Another opportunity for Domino's is to increase and introduce more health conscious menu items, low fat, gluten free, things of this nature. It will help increase their revenues in the future. They can also place their restaurants in more higher traffic areas to get more recognition by customers who may not eat at fancy restaurants and are not necessarily aware of their brand. Some of the threats that exist for Domino's are its direct competitors. As we've discussed early on, there's a ton of just US competitors, and the range is from actually delivery pizzas to frozen pizzas. There's a lot of direct and indirect competition, and it's not just the pizza industry, it's all the quick service uh, food establishments like McDonald's and KFC, or what if someone prefers a burger over a pizza that day? It still is in the same kind of category of not so healthy food that a consumer can choose. The other threat is just the changing eating habits that consumers have with government regulations and having to put the calorie counts and salt levels of food on the labeling, and the NGOs concentrating more on health awareness and people becoming more aware of what they're eating and what to avoid. This will ultimately be considered a threat to Domino's. And cost is always going to be a threat, because as cost of food materials go up, this will be difficult for Domino's to keep their consistent pricing model that they've been so proud of, and it will also make it more difficult to offer some of the promotional offerings that they have. This is how Domino's sits today with 12,100 stores, and 50% of their sales come from the international market. You can see that they have definitely been able to overcome the social media crisis, and they are also capitalizing on the opportunities that exist in the international market, where the pizza industry has not yet reached the mature life cycle as it has here in the US. As you can see from this slide, Domino's isn't just a storefront to buy pizza. They also have 16 different dough manufacturing and food distribution centers. They have their own equipment supply facility and process their own vegetables. This helps them maintain consistency and pass through pricing and profit sharing with their franchises. Domino's commitment does not stop at their food. They also have a social commitment to provide a better environment, community, a better workplace for their employees, and quality products and awareness of how the animals are treated that provide the ingredients used for their pizzas. Domino's learned a lot from the social media crisis they found themselves in 2009, and I think their biggest takeaway from it was making sure to stay ahead of the social media curve. Now they are definitely on the forefront of developing apps and ways to communicate with their customers. They have a proprietary POS system, and they even have an online loyalty program. The final slide that I will leave you with is one of their newest commercials, which just further shows how they have progressed into the technology with their marketing.